You're listening to The Kelly Slusher Show with your host, Kelly Slusher. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me again for my podcast, for my episode. I'm so scattered. This is probably going to be shorter because I'm just going to pop in and just say hello. Hello. To keep it going, I'm just kind of taking a week off of everything and resetting my energy and refocusing. I was working at this job. I talk about this, the bakery job, and I give them a month's notice. Finally on Sunday was my last day, and I was so barely could get up that morning at 4 a.m. and just be like, oh, I got to do this. But I did it. But it was kind of funny because I didn't think I'd have the feelings that I was feeling this past couple of days, like feeling kind of sad. I was like, oh, I can't believe I'm feeling kind of sad. I'm feeling weird. And I'm like, I didn't expect that. Well, so for me, even if something's hard, sometimes change is hard for me. So, I'll get nostalgic or this or that. I did make friends there, and they really did love me. And I know that I brought a really good thing to them, and I stuck with it for a long time. Even though it was supposed to be like a 15-hour week, really easy job. But then they liked what I was doing, and then these openings came, like some bakery. There was like someone who was doing the baking on the weekends, the pastry stuff, and like the early morning stuff. And this person, they just kind of, anyway, they kind of fell apart, and the whole thing just kind of fell apart. It was like a disaster. And then she asked me, would you want to do this? And I was like, sure. And then it began. I did not mean to or realize how much it was like and you're here. And I learned so much, and I'm so thankful for that. And I had a lot of really good experiences. But the early hours and the long shifts and the exhaustion, and just not for me. I don't like having a boss. I would say one of the most painful things for me was having, there's a thing when you work for people, they have to kind of keep you in line. And I definitely would want to do things a certain way, my way. And then they'd be like, no, it's this way. And I'm like, okay, so you have to do it their way. Even though my way wasn't wrong, but I do it their way, just little things, okay. And then it was always it was constantly like, no, do it this way. And finally, I do believe the head baker shaped me more how she wanted me to be. Even though I wasn't never doing anything wrong, it's just specifically that they wanted this one way. Okay. And that's like really general, because there's a lot of things that I was doing the way they wanted me to do it, but there'd be certain things like, do it this way. So there was just certain things that I kind of felt like, I don't know, just like I'm such an individual, or I think my own thoughts. I do the things. That's why I'm such a self-employed person. Like I have my own ways of doing things, and it's so hard to have a boss. It was so hard. And like the head chef, he would definitely put you in line, and it was a small kitchen, and you always had to work under these kind of like, and some people are fine with that, under this like pressure of like needing to like conform to a certain way. And always, it wasn't that part was hard. And but I liked the just meeting people. And when I had been living where I'm living now, I lived here a couple years, and then I had left, and then I came back, and I didn't have, I knew some people, but it was still, I just knew there was a whole world for me of new friends to make. So it was kind of cool, because I was like, oh, I'll work at this place that's in the middle of town. That'll be fun. But I didn't realize it'd be like 20 months. It was 20 months, a year and 8 months later, I'd be like, okay, I gotta go. But the thing that did come out of it, there's a lot that came out of it, but the thing that did is the open mic. And so when I approached them, I talked about this. When I approached them about doing an open mic, it was just because they slow down in the winter, and it was just an idea. I didn't really think. I just imagined there'd be like a chair. That was my imagination. There'd be like a chair. There'd be someone sitting in the chair with an acoustic guitar. There'd just be a microphone, and maybe wasn't even thinking about PA. I just thought about like a really quiet little thing. I thought it'd be like a couple people. There'd be like open mic, a couple people attending. But then once they, said, "Hey, you should do this," I realized, okay, this is not just going to be like a chair and then like a few people performing in that chair. It wasn't even, no. It turned into something beyond what I even imagined it would have. Like, so I had my second one, and the owner, there's like four owners, but she really promoted this one a lot. Like, I even did a reel, and they have a big Instagram account and tons of flyers. Like, they put the flyers all around for like 2 weeks, and I was like, oh, there's not. And I kept thinking to myself, well, there's only going to be 18 slots from 6 to 9. And then there's only a certain amount of people that can fit in here. So I just kept thinking, I think she's over promoting it too much. I don't think we have to do that much. It's a small town, word of mouth anyway. And just like I thought, it was so packed. And I have a lot of fun. Like, I had my own microphone, and so I would, a lot of people will just not even have their own mic. They'll just like go up and be like, okay, next person. But I would like hand it up. It's funny because the head baker was like, "You are so in your element. That is so you." I was like, yeah. I have a lot of fun with that. And there were so many people. It was chaos. It was supposed to end by 9. It didn't end until 10. I had so many people like, "Oh, can I just hop on real quick? I just want to do an a cappella song." Or, "My little daughter, she plays the fiddle. Can she just play?" Okay. And I was just like saying okay to everybody. And then I had this band, this guy who was like, "Oh, can me and my bandmates just play like a little bit, like at the end, like just at the end? I have a small kit." And as all the chaos is happening, I'm thinking small kit, and I'm like baby kit that's what I thought. I was like, "Oh, he's a little baby kit? Oh yeah, I can't see why that'd be a problem. Why would a big man play a baby kit?" But see, that's the, sometimes it's the tism. Sometimes it's like, "Oh, that's a great idea. Okay, no, I can totally not see why that'd be a problem. That's not a reality." But sometimes if I'm like in maybe a situation where I didn't have the time to think it through because it was complete chaos. So anyway, they ended up like, what he really meant was he had a stripped down kit. It was just a hi-hat and a snare. And he was like, "I'm going to play with brushes." But what I didn't realize, this was like 10 minutes till 10. And we were supposed to end by 9. And they're setting up, and I'm like having this little panic, like, wait, why is there a band? No, I'm not supposed to have a band. That was like one of the things they told me. They don't have a music permit. We can't have live music. Even like the open mic is a little bit like, they're loving it though, but it was a little bit more than what they had thought and anyone thought. And so the band starts playing anyway. So I had to cut them off after like 2 or 3 songs. I was like, "Okay, it's like 10 o'clock, you guys, and thank you so much." And and there was still a bunch of people. And I guess people like the band, but I'm sorry, but in the future, there's not going to be bands setting up and playing like that. Like, I have to have really an understanding and understand that people will do stuff like that. And my guitar player was there. It's kind of cute. My little band was there kind of hanging out during the night. And the next night we had band practice, and he was like, "I am so sorry. I saw them do that to you, and that was just not right. That they just completely took advantage." I was like, "They did." And I was mad because the guy said he's playing with brushes, but they ended up being loud, and like he was using the rubber part on the rim of his snare, so it was like loud rim shots, so it wasn't quiet. But they totally took advantage, and they were just like, "We're gonna like take this opportunity." And I understand that some people might just like go book a show. But to take advantage like that was something like that kind of got me. But there were so many highlights. I just have to. So anyway, they still want me to do it, and I will. I think in June I'll do another one. I got to figure out how I'm going to do this with so many people like wanting to sign up and only having a certain amount of time. I'm going to have to be like, okay, everybody, you have 2 songs. Either I'm going to make it 10 minutes or 5 minutes. It depends on how many people are showing up, because it's going to be never ending. And then by 9 o'clock, I was done. I was like, I'm tired. I don't want to keep going. It's exhausting. Even though I'm just emceeing, it was still, but I was also managing the artists coming up with but people were so excited and so supportive. And there was just, people that even I didn't even know existed, played a couple songs. I was like, oh, that's a musician. That's a songwriter I didn't know about. There's that person I didn't know about, because this town is so full of musicians, and I knew it was going to do good because of that, but I just didn't know it was going to be on this level. So I guess that was my last, I was quitting, and the word got out that I was going to be quitting. And the bartender said, man, there's like 10 people that came up and asked me, well, if she's not going to work here anymore, is she still going to do these open mics? Like, oh, yeah, okay. Like, they're just like, this has to happen. And one guy was like, it's only you can do this. This is all you. And I was like, I know. I'm very aware of this. It's my vibe and what I bring. And it's that free spirit thing. And I'm encouraging everybody, and I've got a really good attitude, and it's just me. I have this podcast, So, it was just weird. I'm like, how did all these people know I quit? Like, small town. It's crazy. Small town. So, oh yeah. So this one funny thing happened. There was this guy that Mr. Cool, he was like a cool guy. And he's like dating one of the baristas there. And anyway, she's like, no, she was like, this is my boyfriend. And I was like, oh, cool. And so it was time for him. He came up with his like harmonica, and he had this green guitar. Something I don't know what it is. I'm pretty sure it was a generic brand guitar, because I'd never, not that I know every brand of guitar, but I do know a lot of guitars, but I didn't recognize it. Anyway, he was like playing, and he was singing. He had his harmonica, and he was like playing, and all of a sudden, like in the middle of the first song, pretty close to the beginning of the song, he's just playing, and all of a sudden his guitar just like, it just like, just silence. It just died. And so I'm like scrambling, trying to figure out what the heck's going on. And like looking, I'm like, I changed out like the guitar cables. The amp's fine. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, do you have an internal battery in your guitar? And he's like, I don't know. I just got this guitar today. And I was like, I guarantee you have an internal power source in your guitar, and it just died. So here, so use my guitar. I handed him my pink guitar, and he was like, it's pink. And I was like, it's a Telecaster. It's an amazing Telecaster. Forget about the pink, dude. Besides, if you don't want to play it, don't play, So anyway, he plays it, and the audience all like applauded, because for one, the problem was solved, but 2, he sounded 100 times better. Like whatever, yeah. Like, I'm like, dude, don't diss the Telecaster. The semi-hollow body Telecaster, hello. When I first saw the guitar, I had to have it. It was the most beautiful thing, and it sounds so good. It just has a natural reverb without using a reverb pedal. Like, no matter what you play out of it, it's just a nice sounding guitar. However, I don't want to keep loaning my guitar out. My sweet little favorite baby guitar, it's like still in mint condition. And my guitar player, he was there. He would see me because I handed it to a couple people. And he's like, every time you handed your guitar to someone to play, I was like, oh gosh, oh no, ah. Like, be careful with that. I was like, he knows. I'm like, yeah, no, it's true. So I do have another electric guitar. It's just not as cool. Maybe I'll just have that as a backup, or I don't know. There was so many, it was chaos and excitement and a demand for it more. So even the little card that I got, like my farewell card, like they were like this, and they gave me flowers and my last day at the shift at this place, they gave me flowers and a card, and like it says like in the card, we're going to miss you, something like sweet stuff. And in the end, it was like, well, we look forward to that open mic you're going to do. See you at the next open mic. Like they're down with it. I just think that's so funny. It's good. I'm excited because it's kind of in alignment to what I want to do. I wouldn't say that I want to keep doing open mics. I want to be doing more shows, curating certain shows, and I can't talk too much about what I want to do. But anyway, it is in alignment with my vision of what I had wanted to do. The open mic thing, I think I might get burnt out. Don't let them hear that. But I can see that burning me out pretty quickly because the demand is insane. And not one, except for the people who played, like I played last time, and Alex, he works there, and he helped with the PA, thankfully, because that would have been an overwhelm for me to have to do that. And then another person, but only 3 performers played the time before. So this was a whole new people, a whole other group, like a whole other, performers that weren't there the first time. So curious about the third time. And they're like, yeah, it's crazy. So that's where my mind's at right now. And then quitting the job. And then I'm just resetting myself. And I'm just kind of like figuring my life out. Because working at that job took up so much of my energy that I wasn't able to see what's in the future. So I know I could see it, but I couldn't quite see how I'm going to get to where I want to go. So it's nice to have like a week off. So I'm loving this. There's this thing called sleep that I love. Ooh. And there's this thing called sleeping in that I love. Even like 7 a.m. is sleeping in to me. 8 a.m. I think 8 a.m. is the perfect time to wake up if you go to bed at a decent time. But I don't have so much. Like I'm going to be doing more writing for my podcast. So I believe they are going to be as fun as they used to be. They're still fun because, hi, all my new listeners. I see all kinds of people from like a lot of different countries. I'm not going to name them all, but I was a little bit like, whoa. I think, there's been an increase in listeners, and I haven't been doing as much as I have been wanting to do. So it's been more about stories and telling you, like, sometimes I come up with silly jokes and silly what ifs and all that, and I'll be doing way more of that kind of stuff. So I'm going to play another Crash and Brittany song. Last week I played a Crash and Brittany song. I'm going to play another one. Because these are going to be, it's just something to put on the end. And these are going to be released on streaming services. And like I talked about that, if you listen to the one podcast last week, I don't like to repeat myself. But it's my first band. And we recorded a bunch of songs. And we did an EP. Well, I would say it's 7-inch. This is like a 3-song 7-inch. We did 4 songs. Unless I'm wrong about that. I don't have the physical 7-inch with me to look at it. It's in storage and I need to rummage. And every time I go to my storage unit, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff in here. And then I go through a little bit. I'm like, I gotta go. I'm like, I don't want to be here. But that was before when I had that job where I just like always was on the go and couldn't do anything because I was always like, okay, now I'm so tired. I got this and this and this to do. Not that I'm not going to be busy. I'm sure I will be. But my energy levels were so compromised by working at that 5 a.m. 8-hour shift job. Ugh. But I'm going to play some Crash and Brittany. And I want to, let's see, what can I talk about? Anything I can say about that? We did an EP at Inharmonic Studio, and it was like a pro bono type of thing. And we racked up like $20,000. And Eric Broyhill was our producer, and he just kind of like, when the band broke up, they kind of just like forgave us. They're like, oh, it's okay. It was like that with Crash and Brittany. People would just hand us stuff for free. I remember I'm like, that was so nice. I mean, like businesses would give us free food. I remember just like rarely having to pay for anything. I mean, I'm looking back trying to remember. Yeah, I remember that. Because I remember when we broke up, I was like, oh man, all that fun free stuff. I did remember that. I was like, oh, that's so sweet. You know, like you don't have to pay for much, you know. Yeah, no, everywhere we went, people just like hand us, yeah. Because it was a small town and we were just a very loved band. But it was an explosive band. It started in an explosion and ended in an explosion. But this song, okay, I'm sure there's more I can say about this, but I'm just going to play it. This song is called Faint in a Thursday. And yeah, I will talk to you guys next week. And thanks for listening. Okay, goodbye.